this. Is there anything you want the fans to know or any last thing you want to say to them before we get to see this series tonight?
This is where the fun begins.
And we're back, y'all. Welcome to Jedi Mike 7 Movie News Show. I'm your host, Jedi Mike 7, and today we're talking about a few topics we got for today, as you've seen the thumbnail, but also we got some things for breaking down the world of movies, TV, television, all that stuff in the world of movies. But today, glad I'm here because I'm not alone with my co-host, Mr. J. King. What's going on? What's up with the lights?
What's going on with you?
What are you wearing?
I wore this last week. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. See what you where'd you get those?
The New Year?
Oh, okay, yeah. Happy New Year, y'all. Happy New Year. All right, yeah, but guys, as you see here, we're in a new age of the 2024. There's some movies that coming out. I'll be dropping those reviews later this week. So make sure you hit the notification bell, subscribe button, and also let me know your thoughts on some of the movies that come out here. We got Book of Clarence. I saw Mean Girls. Surprisingly fun. I was not like Mean Girls. I was like, I'm gonna see what this is about. Mean Girls was surprisingly fun. It's a musical, which is kind of musical out for some of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. But it's actually surprisingly fun. Book of Clarence has been it's good, very entertaining. I'll just say that. But I'll say it's great, whatever. I gotta wait until I actually see the film again for a second time to actually digest what I process as a Christian and everything. But we also have a show that came out called Echo by Marvel, the first of Marvel's Spotlight, the first of Marvel wave of being a TVMA rating, and being more hard R, as close as they can be, right? But yeah, before we can get to topics like that, we also got some Last of Us 2 casting. We got also some rumors about the new Daredevil Born Again show. Some now MCU, Marvel, Netflix is canon. So all the Netflix shows are now canon, which we'll talk about, and how Marvel is starting to listen. Jon Bernthal been talking about, hey, we're gonna do Punisher, we're gonna do it right. And so we have a new animated DC movie that probably people not gonna watch, but it's all right, better than the ones previously, but still, and whatever. Crisis of Infinite Earths Part 1 of 3 that's coming out this year. I had a privilege of interviewing the director, Jeff Wemister, back in Comic-Con, so I already was aware of this project and seeing, how this now seeing it come to be the end of this new animated verse and stuff before we get into 2025. But before we can get to that, I'm going to address some people in the chat here. Shout out to the Great Pill Podcast. Shout out to Derpy Entertainment. Yep, you got a fan. The glasses are fire. Be careful, it might catch on fire. Anyway, so, and shout out to Wally. Shout out to Wally in the building. All right. So, as you know, in the world of the MCU, we have to dissect a lot of things, which goes into our segment of what's new in the MCU. There we go. We're back. But yes, y'all. So as you see, we've had a new show that's come out today, or last week, I should say, on my Founders Day. Shout out to Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Oh wait, I gotta share my screen. Let me share my screen. How I stop sharing? Yeah, I just try to change the layout. Give me 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Boom. There we go. There we go. As you see, yes, Echo, the new Marvel Disney Plus show that released all of its episodes, every single one of those suckers. Not episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, and episode 5. All of them. You don't have to wait a week by week. You got the whole package on this. If you have the Hulu and Disney Plus bundle, if you get to show your kids and all that stuff, the new settings on Disney Plus where you can see some serious movies and stuff, But yeah, and this is starring the actor or character that was in Hawkeye about almost 2 years ago at this point. Yeah, and this is a character who is deaf, but she's like very strong at martial arts. No superpowers, at least we thought she didn't. But she is considered kind of like the daughter of Kingpin, Kingpin from the Daredevil series. So yeah, and we had this show actually premiered all of its episodes last Friday. Before I get into my thoughts, I want to ask Jay King, what is your thoughts on the fact that we got release of all of this entire show, and your first initial thoughts? The show's getting announced, and now after seeing all the episodes all at once, what's your thoughts?
Well, first off, didn't come on Friday. Dropped all of its episodes late Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Released all 5 episodes. When this series first got announced, I was like, okay. I was intrigued enough by the character when we saw her in Hawkeye, and I know that I've known about her history, at least a little bit of the history for a while. Of course, I knew her from when she was in the New Avengers, her time, with the likes of Daredevil. So I knew a little bit about her. And so I was at least intrigued for what this series could bring, diving deep into Maya's history, her connections with Wilson Fisk and her heritage. And also in between this series coming out and when we last saw her in Hawkeye, even more comics started to come out about her, giving more information, heck even having her join the recent Avengers and having the Phoenix Force. So there's a lot that goes with this character, powers or no powers. So I was excited, and then they revealed that this was going to be TVMA, the first TVMA Marvel Spotlight series. I was like, okay, this is going to be experimental. It's going to be the first time where it's going to get a little more hard edge, some stuff we haven't seen since the Netflix days, which, makes a lot of sense since the show recanonized a lot of stuff, especially if you look at the Disney Plus timeline for Marvel, and with things that the behind the scenes people have said when it comes to this and the old Netflix stuff, as we said, all that's canon again. You want to know where things are placed? Look at your Disney Plus Marvel timeline. It'll tell you exactly where they all go, but they all exist, at least Netflix wise. All those other shows like Runaways, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's a story for another day. But leading up to this, I was excited. I was like, okay, look, I'm always for seeing new characters get their moment to shine. And especially with this being a Marvel Spotlight and being very, very more mature and hard edge, stuff that couldn't be done in previous shows and films. I was like, okay, or hasn't been done in a while. I was like, okay, I'm excited to see where this goes. And I'll just say, not getting into specifics, I really liked this series. I really liked what they did for Maya. I really liked it. Bruh. Bruh. But anyways, I actually like the series. I like what it did for her. I like how it explored her heritage and connecting her to her ancestry. And shout out to the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma for working so hard with Marvel on this series, and also with that Cohorty episode of What If. You know, for working so hard and making sure that everything was authentic. I loved the fight scenes within this. Like, the fight scenes are probably my favorite thing within the show. How it was choreographed and how they played with the sound, especially given the fact that we're dealing with a deaf character here, deaf and amputated character here. And again, I like pretty much all the characters here. I will say the only little gripe I have is some parts of the finale, but other than that, I really enjoyed this series. Not one of my favorite series, but definitely a good series in my opinion.
Yeah. So with this show being announced, and off rip, I just say I didn't really think that this was a show worth being made. I'll be honest with you, because not saying that the character of Echo would not be interesting, it should not be added in the MCU. You had many different characters in the overall universe, obviously, but to have an own show of these characters, kind of a lot of fans been frustrated with just the fact of, hey, do I really need to see a show about this character, right? Now, again, it is different because this character is actually deaf and also has an amputated leg as well. But able to still fight some crime and still hold her own in a fight and everything like that. So, but the one thing I did not like was the fact that in Hawkeye, the off rip already said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make a show about his Echo character." You didn't tell me one. Okay, I'm seeing the character. Do I get to choose if I like this character? Do I get to choose? Say, hey, I want to see more of this character, instead of being told, saying, "Hey, you have to. We're making a show, so you have to like her, right?" And I was like, that's what it felt like they were selling to us, beginning with Hawkeye. And I'm not saying like I didn't think the character was awful or anything. I didn't find like anything resonate with it. So I wasn't really looking forward to the show. That being said, when I heard the first, all the episodes being dropped, I was like, okay, this is not gonna be, probably not gonna be good. But when I saw the first trailer, then my suspicions and everything kind of got aroused, because that was a very good trailer. And even after any of my comments I say in this review, that still was a very good trailer for this show. And with all that being said, I appreciate the show. I actually found it interesting when they were doing things with ASL, with the sign language and the being in the shoes of a person that's going through or who is deaf and doing sign language and everything and doing combat. I actually find that interesting to show, like, again, the sound design, like, and then these scenes, like, okay, that's interesting. Just as we're seeing, Matt Murdock, when he's, blind and fighting crime, we're seeing this person actually seeing in their perspective, which I appreciate them doing. Now, before the show came out, I saw the first 3 episodes. They didn't show the last 2 episodes, right? Now, mind you, in the first 3 episodes, I told you this off camera. I said this was like, hey, it's these for the most part, whatever. Then I saw the last 2 episodes, and you mentioned it with the finale, and it kind of changed my perception of the show, honestly. And I'm not going to say this is a bad show, and I'm not going to say this is a horribly terrible, don't worth watching show, whatever. I do appreciate the representation. I appreciate the fact that they got all of the Wolfpack and the Twilight series to be in this movie. No, seriously, y'all. They got at least a couple wolves in there.
Yeah, I know. They were actually there.
They're in the Twilight series, but then it's like, okay, I have not seen this person anything else. Well, dang, how many Indian roles are out there? I don't know. Now everybody can be with Leonardo DiCaprio, Killers of the Flower Moon. You know what I mean? So I get it. But yeah, Lily, folks in Twilight. But that being said, I had a few like issues with the show, which we're getting into. I feel like the show did not really, for me, I didn't see what was the message of this show other than just the character, like in the fact of their disability, the fact that they're going through this situation, and we haven't really seen that type of character before. The family dynamic, okay, I thought for interesting for the most part the lineage, but again, from comics, I was like, okay, you switch a lot of things up, and I hope you JK, like you're not getting to understand like where, all right, either she has powers or she doesn't have powers. They're like, oh, she got powers, but no, she doesn't have the powers she got in the freaking comics, which will be a lot more simpler and also more tied to her character than this whole. I like you just power clothing now. Just
no. I mean, I think I could probably explain it a little, like what they were trying to do or what they were trying to get across, especially in the finale. Again, I have a little bit of issues with the finale, but I understand what they're doing. It's more in the sense of it's not powers in the sense that we're traditionally used to, and it's not powers through like a suit like how we're traditionally used to. It's more so it's almost in a sense of like what her ancestors had before. She can channel that. It's not necessarily like, oh, she can fire finger guns, like spirit guns out of her fingers or whatever. It's more so the cunningness, the bravery, the sharpshootingness, everything her ancestors had. She can basically emulate that. I think that's more so what they're trying to get across. Was it presented in the best way? Not fully. I mean, there were definitely better episodes, like episode 3, where they kind of had that. But I think what the problem with the show is not of all the episodes dropping or it just being 5 episodes. I feel like what it needed, even if they wanted to leave the powers just a tiny bit vague, I feel like it could have benefited from maybe one extra episode or a little bit more time to fully get people to understand what they're trying to do. Because I've seen a lot of people confused on that front, and I feel like a little more time and a little more time to explain it and display it would have gotten people to understand exactly what the heck happened at the end.
Yeah, because like now, and again, I'm being very patient with this. Like, I'm not trying to, and I want to make this very clear. I'm not trying to go in. It's like, man, this show sucks. Like, I'm not trying to say that, John Campia. But listen, like,
and we're also not trying to say this show is a big piece of trash.
A big piece of trash. But no, but honestly, I had issues. Okay, Marvel was lying to you. I'm telling you. After this, I even after Doctor Strange, I don't listen to Kevin Feige anymore. Listen, this show was PG-13 at best. At best, come on. Daredevil. Listen, the first episode of Daredevil at Netflix, you see Kingpin beheading a dude by hitting the door, and you see
that was an episode 1, but that was one of the early episodes.
Of Daredevil, what I mean? But
I know.
Now the only thing you got was okay, and then all the rated R or whatever was in the trailer. You see the one scene of the dude shoot the dude in the face, and then you see the one of the roller skating dude is shot, and he's just laying there on the table, and that's it. That's it. There's no pain. Like, no, oh my God, look how gruesome. Like, no, come on. That's where I was like, no, you bullshitting. Like, and then we got this 7-minute fight. Listen, y'all, you never seen a fight like this. We got 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Hold on, I got you for 7 minutes. A 7-minute fight with Echo and Daredevil.
7 minutes of pain time.
Nope. that was about maybe 4 minutes. My back based on my calculations.
Yeah, I mean, I think that means 7 minutes in total, not just the Daredevil part. But
No,
I mean,
no,
it was a
no,
good
no. Based
fight.
on
We can't deny it was a
based on
good
my
fight. But
calculations, it was about 4 minutes and 30 seconds because it was all in one shot, and you're fighting multiple people. When you say a 7 minute fight, that means this one person is fighting each other consistently for 7 minutes. No, no,
mhm.
no, nope. Not my calculations. Not my MCU calculator telling me. Nope. The limit does not
This man
exist.
brought out the this
Yes.
man brought out the calculator and the Urkel glasses.
Yeah, nah, it's but nah, yeah, that Daredevil like scene, I was like, okay. That because it was I was watching it with my wife, was like, okay, he popped up, yeah, and then he was gone. The moment he popped up, he was gone, and then that's it. But yeah,
I mean, again, it was a good fight. Like again, that entire scene, not just the Daredevil part, but the entire part was a good fight. But I think it was mainly there, A, so he could show up, and B, just to also give us clarification that he was not blipped away by Thanos. So
now I will also say this: aside from not watching any like before the show, you didn't have to do any homework. This show did one thing I felt no other Disney Plus series have done the best of his ability, but they did in this show. That in the first episode, you recapped everything that you needed to do to get from that character. From if you did not watch the Hawkeye series, you didn't watch anything. You build up to that point, and now here we are in present day. That to me, I felt they did it better than any other Disney Plus show or movie. Just like recap. Okay, let me recap this. And in a non-linear, not a flashback way, but like in a narrative story way that it's like, oh, it's part of the episode. Like we're seeing them play as kids and growing up, and then like, oh yeah, she went to Hawkeye, boom, there's Ronan, there's Hawkeye, boom, there's Kingpin, boom, there's shot him in the eye. He's still standing, whatever.
yeah, I have to agree with that. Like literally, like like again for anyone who didn't see Hawkeye, because there's going to be a few people that didn't, because that was around the time people were starting to give up on Marvel. So it's like there's a few people that didn't see Hawkeye, or maybe it's been a while since you've seen Hawkeye, and maybe you never watched the Netflix shows. You don't need to. That whole thing gave you what you needed to know about Maya, scenes we didn't see before, scenes we have seen before, and it even gives you the feeling of why Kingpin is so menacing within his first appearance in this show, with the cops being like, "Oh no, you know what this is?"
Right. And immediately, like, again, I just thought it was edited very well and it was self-explanatory. My wife was there with me watching it, and she felt like she caught along with it. It's like, aside from me, giving my explanation, but not whole recap and stuff, but she got it. So that I commend them for doing that, because that's been my biggest frustration. You have to have homework to watch all this, and they actually done it in a very unique way than any other Disney Plus show I've seen so far. Like just the intro, how it openly recapped, so you still like, okay, I didn't get through all the BS, all of it, and everything. So yeah, but yeah, and yeah, it's a more redder version of the costume with Daredevil you see here. But yeah, that fight to me was not that. It was underwhelming, to be honest with you. Like I like when he came in, like okay, like when he whipped the thing and in the camera pan that he was there, but then like I didn't really like the combat, all of it. It just wasn't as built up as I thought it was going to be, and at least it's built up as they anticipated it was going to be. Right? I was watching like it's a cameo.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like if you went in with the anticipation that this, like especially if they were hyping it up, if you went in with the anticipation that this was going to be like a very special fight, like something we haven't seen since one of the past seasons of Daredevil, or even something that Daredevil himself didn't do in those past seasons or in his other appearances within the MCU, if you hype yourself up like that, then you're going to be severely disappointed. Whereas if you're not going in with any expectations, once that fight comes and it goes, it's like, oh, okay, that was a good fight. You appreciate what they did, you appreciate how things went, and you're not thinking about, damn, they said it was 7 minutes, but that thing lasted barely 3.
Yeah. But no, that's a good point, right? But I want to also get to the main part of this. It'll get into our next topic, still pertain to Daredevil and everything. But I want to talk about the performance, which I also was actually a negative in my opinion, which was Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. And me personally, aside from like some few moments of flashback scenes, I felt he wasn't the menacing Kingpin that he was, but calculated Kingpin and Daredevil than he was in this show, because he seemed very erratic. You know what I mean? By like, come Echo, come in the car with me. Please come to the car with
I
me.
mean,
And then it's like,
I think that was,
he's not coming. What?
I think that would.
Oh, wait, can you hear me?
I think that was the point. I think more so than any other appearance of. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I must be choppy, but as I was trying to say, okay. Anyways, as I was trying to say, it's like I think that was the purpose. It's like, in the past with Daredevil season 1 through 3, Kingpin was very much one way of his character and trying to be menacing, more so to his enemies and to others. But in this case, Maya was basically like his daughter, and it's like outside of Vanessa is probably the only person that could get him in an emotional state. Like this man wasn't trying to beat her. Like again, until the last episode, he wasn't trying to kill her. He wasn't trying to like get rid of her. He was just trying to make her forgive him and bring her back home, because he again, outside of Vanessa, and again, we don't know where Vanessa is at this current time. I mean, things are still canon, but we don't know where she is at this current time. Outside of Vanessa, Maya is the only family that he technically has that didn't, do what they did to him as a child. So, him being more uncalculating, or him being very emotional, or making decisions that he normally wouldn't have back in the past, it makes sense to me, because again, all he's trying to do is just get his daughter to come back home, and she's basically like, no, you betrayed me, you killed my actual father. Like I had to learn the truth from Hawkeye, instead of her hearing it, instead of finding out, just up front. He was very much emotional in this entire thing, because it was just one mission for him: bring his daughter back. That's why he told basically everyone else, even though everyone else had dubbed her the King Killer, bring her back home, bring her back. Like, don't touch her, she's mine. Because again, that's family to him, and it's probably one of the only few times we'll see him act like that to any character that's not named Vanessa. I think that's why I don't mind his actions in this, because he was very much acting just trying to get his daughter back, and when he didn't, he reverted to that kind of like like there's a reason why some people call Kingpin a big baby, and that's one of those moments where it's like he reverts into that toddler state. And again, as someone who's read many comics with Kingpin in it, facing off against the likes of Echo, Daredevil, and Spider-Man, amongst many others, this is not something that's new for me. So that's why it didn't really bother me. I think what they were trying to do versus what he did before in the past makes sense when you think about what character he's trying to get back. This isn't like him talking to Matt Murdock. This isn't like what it would most likely be like for him facing off against Spider-Man. This is him just trying to get his daughter back, and she's basically saying, "Fuck you, I'm out." So I that's why I don't mind the way he was acting.
Yeah, it's just like for me, I just think that it just more of, I remember the Kingpin that he was, and it just felt like it's kind of very spontaneous, and just in a way like this is like, I guess for someone that does not have that emotional, the longevity of I guess you say multiple seasons that we've seen this relationship being built is really fresh. We only see it quickly with a couple of scenes, just knowing that they're there for each other, right? And so I guess it's like for him to react that way, as for me as the audience member watching it, I didn't feel to me that it kind of resonated to me, but he was the only thing for me that definitely was making this show watchable, because I like as much as I didn't like the journey they put him in terms of throughout the season, definitely recovering from an eye injury that's impossible, getting shot, literally 2 inches away from your head, like how that happened. And
you know how angry you got to be to get shot in the eye and survive that shit.
But like, listen, I mean, even then, Kingpin took an arrow into the chest, and and again, like he just broke it off, and he got shot. He is now comic book Kingpin with the MCU power level that he is in the comics, but he never had it in the TV show. But yeah, so I don't know. I just think personally they would go a different direction. But I did love the way they end the series with him setting up where he's going. Because like, okay, this is where we're going. All right.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
just,
I should probably explain. I should probably explain where that does go. Um,
we're gonna get to the next topic before like we just was talking about the show of Echo, but because
mhm,
that goes into the whole Netflix thing, which we'll get into being canonized. Because all that led to
mhm.
what's about to happen. So, but yeah, but other than that, I'll just say you need to give like a final consensus of the show and overall thoughts of the media perception of it, the fans' response to it, and everything like that.
Hmm. I will say this: when it comes to the show, at the end of the day, I had a lot of fun with this. Already liked the character before, but I think it is definitely like I, it's weird because there are some things with this show that could have been addressed in a different way, and there are some things about the show that could have been done in a different way. But I think at the end of the day, for me, it's honestly went in a good direction. I pretty much like all the characters we had here, even the side characters, even Maya's family, as her cousins, her grandma, uncle, and all that. Her uncle Henry, especially the dude who was with the skater rink. This man knows how to emote with his ASL. But I pretty much liked a lot of what was going on in this. The fight scenes were some of my favorite stuff for me. I enjoyed what they did when it came to, again, as I said, being someone who's read the comics and has seen the Netflix series as well. Yes, it's a little jarring for Kingpin, but it's understandable if you think about just where he's coming from with everything. But again, overall for me, I liked it. And again, just to talk about that ending fight, I think the only thing that was bugging me is just that, again, even though I don't mind them being a little vague about how her abilities went, I feel like if it was explained a little more, that it would make the fight, a little less confusing for me. You're muted.
It would have paid off because like the child.
Hmm.
I'm gonna make sure I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Was it the Chatwa
Chalk.
Choctaw?
Something somewhere around there. Yeah, I'm so
Is the
sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Choctaw, tribe. With that, it definitely was rushed, but it was like, but also came out freaking nowhere. How the show opened, I'm like, where are we? Like, where, like, when and then they just opened up, came out of the freaking grass and stuff, like, and with clothes.
I mean, again, the
And
reason
but
they
we're
did
on
it that
Earth, by the way, we're on Earth, but
yeah,
like, where?
I mean, the reason they did that is because that is how their legend of those people started. And again, it's like you can only do so much from what is told in history or in stories about your nation. So again, I didn't mind that part. I didn't mind that part.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, like I get that, but I just think again, I just wanted them to explain that a little bit more further. But yeah, definitely felt that the heritage storyline was rushed. Definitely an episode so that was missing because usually when you drop all episodes, we're kind of missing half of a show
Hmm.
in this case because if this was Netflix, we've gotten all 10 of them, you know, and we'll
Yeah,
get the 10.
it definitely would have benefited from like two, maybe three more episodes.
Because again, the issue with Marvel with I think the week by week is that okay, we're waiting for episodes a week that are not really satisfying. So it's almost kind of feel like a filler episode. But then if we had all at once, okay, then we binge it. But then you would get to the other half of it, and you'd be like, well, I don't have time to digest the storyline a little bit, so therefore I think I might automatically say, oh, this story was rushed. Well, you got all the episodes, like
Right.
so it's like it's now, what? Now the question is, what will Marvel learn from Echo? Because again, I'm seeing people giving it good reviews. I'm seeing other people not liking it. It's whatever. But do you think Marvel would make the decision of releasing all of his episodes based off of Echo?
I feel like there is a chance it could happen again. I feel like there is a chance where that could happen because, again, as you said, it's very mixed. Where there's some people that liked the show and didn't mind all episodes dropping at once, and there are some people who wishes that it was at the weekly, what we're used to when it comes to these shows. I feel like if anything, they might try and find a middle ground to it, maybe in a sense of where they drop half of the series in one day, and then like a week or so later they dropped the other half. You know, kind of like how Invincible dropped its first couple of episodes within the first couple of weeks, and then they stopped, and then they're going to come back. But in a sense of dropping half one day and then dropping half a different day.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the Stranger Things method would probably be better because again, you can have anticipation for it. Maybe narratively, let's say for example, have half of a season. Like for example, Daredevil Born Again gonna be 18 episodes. Like we're gonna wait 18 weeks of beat by beat, you know, of this, or are we just gonna have half of
Yeah.
one, all 9 episodes dropped, and then or 9 episode week by week break movie, and then nine episodes in the later half of a movie. Like you know what I mean? Like so way that it kind of like oh go ahead. You want to say something? Oh, okay. No, I was just saying like the narratively, because like for example, Hawkeye went right into at least because of Kingpin led into No Way Home because of Daredevil. But I'm just saying if you want to make somewhat connective to a movie and stuff, I'm not saying again making more homework because that's the problem. People not watching the Disney Plus shows and they're not even be watching the movies. What's even the point, So, but yeah. But other than that, I thought okay. I think this show is decent for the most part. Definitely is I feel is a step forward, whether good or bad for Marvel, to a point of actually moving forward, taking more creative risk, but also now creating this version, which is the Marvel Spotlight, which is more of what she said is more tied to the Marvel Knights run in the comics, where like the Punishers, the Ghost Riders, the Blades, all that going to be under the Marvel Spotlight, aside from Blade, because it's be a movie, but like in terms tonally and everything. But I need to see a more drastic shift in this tone more in the future with more of these hardcore characters, and then see what you're actually going to do. Because this is PG-13 to me at best, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, let us know your thoughts on Echo in the comment section down below, and let us know your thoughts. All right, next, even stay on the vein of now. Speaking of Echo, we have Kingpin. Now, because of Echo, now Marvel made a decision which we thought would never happen. First, we thought Spider-Man doesn't exist in the universe. What happened? They made a deal, and they got him. Oh yeah, X-Men never gonna show up in the MCU. Fantastic Four. What they bought the whole damn studio, and now we got X-Men and we have Fantastic Four coming. But then it's like, no, okay, they'll never bring Daredevil back, whatever, and Kingpin. No, they brought him back. They brought him back. But so apparently, looks like now, after years of now speculation or also accepting defeat, I guess, the MCU Netflix shows, Marvel Netflix shows, right? Talking about your Daredevil season 1, 2, and 3, your Luke Cage season 1 and 2, your Jessica Jones season 1 and 2, your Punisher season 1 and 2, your Iron Fist, that too, season 1 and 2 is now,
and of course the Defenders as well.
Yes, and Defenders, which is their Avengers type team that they had collaborate, together and everything, is now canon officially. No if and buts about it. Go on Disney Plus, you see the chronicle order of all of it. So Luke Cage, everything in the same order. So yeah,
and for any people that don't know, I'm gonna just tell y'all where the order is. Yeah, I'm gonna just so people know. So Daredevil season 1 and 2 and Jessica Jones season 1. All that is right before Age of Ultron. Luke Cage season 1 and Iron Fist season 1 and Defenders in between Ant-Man and Civil War. Punisher, well, he does his stuff right after Homecoming, but before Doctor Strange. And again, this is timeline wise. So yeah, they are all canon again.
Yeah, so you see here in this picture, so everybody and their mama is in this. So yeah, Daredevil, and Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Jessica Jones. Now, does that mean that these characters will come back into the fold in Daredevil Born Again? Well, that should be reported that we're actually going to see some returning characters, which at first were not coming back in the light of day, are actually coming back. And now this is starting where Marvel is starting to listen. Let me pull this article right here.
Mhm.
You there?
Yeah.
If you want to, Jakey, you want to talk about it, you can before I pull the article up.
Yeah, so basically before when it was coming to Daredevil Born Again, before, some of the reshuffling and before the strikes and everything, we knew that of course they recast Vanessa. But in terms of, Matt's love or one of his loves, Karen Page, and his best friend and his other partner at the law practice, Foggy Nelson, that the actors who played them in Netflix were not going to return, that they were going to recast them, you know, and again, it was back in that moment, and even the producer for Echo said, like, it was back at that moment where they were still unsure of, like, okay, what stuff is and isn't canon anymore. But they were certain when they were doing Echo, it's like, okay, look, if we're going to embrace this, we need to embrace all of it. And so that is why the actors for Foggy and Karen from the Netflix Daredevil season 1 and 2 and 3, and also their appearance in Defenders, they are officially back once again as Foggy and Karen for Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah. So at first we didn't think they were going to come back, but they are returning. Now, do I think it's a good idea? Absolutely.
Yes,
Like, there's no ifs,
you were
ands, buts about it.
amazing.
Right. You can't have Matt Murdock without freaking Foggy Nelson. Right. And so there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. So if we want to have a continuation of this show and of these characters, we got to bring back these characters, all of them.
Mhm.
Right.
Now, of course, they're going to have questions about what the heck Matt was doing in LA, but during She-Hulk. But other than that,
right, She-Hulk. But the thing about this now is that now because you're in the MCU, you get to see more fantastical stuff happening in Hell's Kitchen. So
yep.
now, a freaking Iron Fist or whatever, that's not going to be unrealistic that they can do, or magic. That's not going to be as unrealistic that they can see. You can see a Hulk or She-Hulk in a Daredevil show, but hopefully keep the grittiness and actually lawyer show.
And because of this, you get to see other characters that aren't necessarily street level, but also kind of street level, show up and interact with the likes of these. We can finally see in suit Daredevil and Spidey team up, or even Daredevil come across the likes of Captain America if we want to. This type of stuff that we couldn't get before back during phase 1 through 3 is now possible. It's now possible to have this happen again, like how it usually does in the comics.
Right. So now, the point of why I'm saying the point, like why it's important that the Marvel shows are now canon in Netflix first, because after Echo, we see that Kingpin or Wilson Fisk is actually on a plane and looking at a television station and looking at someone running for mayor. Now, if you guys remember the comics, Kingpin has run for mayor at a period in the time and everything. Actually, Luke Cage actually. Oh, excuse me. Luke Cage. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I can explain that, in detail, because again, that's like one of the more recent stuff. But just saying, because of other stuff that was happening in the comics, Wilson Fisk was able to win over New York and became mayor. And he was mayor for like a good long time, I'd have to say, from like, again, sliding time scale and all that, but from like 2007 to like 2022, I believe. And again, it led to so many things happening. Him being mayor, some people saw it as a plus. Others had to suffer because of it. This man put in laws to, ban street level superheroes, even leading to the most recent Daredevil event, Daredevil's Reign, where it was a war against him and all the superheroes, which led to, as you were mentioning, Luke Cage becoming mayor of New York City. Yeah, that happened after this and is still a current thing to this day. Again, I can say, like, it's a current thing that's still going on. But yeah, that means that this type of stuff, like Wilson Fisk becoming mayor, messing with other superheroes, not just the Netflix ones, but ones we've seen before in the MCU, can now happen. Messing with the likes of, say, Bucky, who might still live in New York, or of course Spider-Man, one of his other arch nemesis in the comics. As well as many of the others he's already dealt with in the Netflix series. We can now see that become possibility, the Mayor Fisk storyline, however long it runs for.
Yeah, and I know the comment saying, I want to see Luke Cage shoot. Now that's another question. Will that mean now some of the actors say, "Nah, I'm not coming back." Luke Cage, he said, "I'm not coming back to this stuff." Whatever, let somebody, which probably might be for the best. To be honest with you, whatever. But uh, Jessica Jones, which is a fan favorite, because out of all of it, there's only really been 3 characters everybody wanted to come back. 4, including Kingpin. Kingpin, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Punisher. Punisher is confirmed to come, but Jessica Jones is a fan favorite. A lot of people want to come back, which most likely is coming back after this news. Because if you have to remember, Jennifer Walters and Jessica Jones are actually good friends. It's in the comics, so hashtag
Yeah, so
girlfriend.
yeah, so we could see that happen. We could see Jen just show up from LA to, like, who knows, maybe they had a past, and heck, with that, we can also have maybe even more of Jessica's history as Jewel, since of all those connections, maybe get explored a little more than what we got before. Maybe even bring in some of those fantastical elements.
Right. And now, being that also, why is that this is important that, Daredevil or Kingpin is going to become, mayor, and which probably be the whole born again storyline, because obviously this ends in going billion to a movie, which the only most likely film that everybody's been catering that Kingpin to actually show up is actually in Spider-Man. So,
Hmm.
in the next Spider-Man film, it's been rumored that it actually be more street level Civil War. So that means that all your street level characters, Daredevil, Kate Bishop, Echo, all these other, Hawkeye, all these street level characters are actually going to be culminating in this 4th Spider-Man film. That, mind you, Spider-Man, nobody knows his name. Nobody, no, he has no tech. He's street under ruse, everything back to square one. But
Hmm.
Kingpin showed up in Amazing Spider-Man comics many, many years ago. That's when he got first introduced. He's a Spider-Man villain before he's even a Daredevil villain.
Right.
But everybody's been waiting for years to see actually Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin to be in a Spider-Man film, and this is only the perfect combination. And Vincent D'Onofrio always been adamant about saying, "Hey, I want to be in a Spider-Man movie and and kick Spider-Man's ass and all that stuff like that," which we all want to see that. And
Hmm.
I actually think that also be a good mature villain for Peter now in his stage in his life. But I don't know, Jakey, what do you think?
No, I definitely agree. Like, I 100% am ready to see this. And it's funny that, they talk about it being like a street level gang war, because they're recently even doing that for Peter and the other street level heroes in the comics. So it's like they're kind of preparing this. They're kind of preparing us for this stuff where we'll see the many street level heroes taking on the multiple gangs of New York and taking on Wilson Fisk of New York. And I am 100% ready to see Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin taking on Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because I want to see what we had from the original 616 comics and the Ultimate Universe comics of, Kingpin versus Spider-Man to come to life. I want to see Peter make the jokes. I want to see him make the jokes and get Kingpin mad like how he usually does. So that type of thing, I feel like if anything, the Spider-Man film, Spider-Man 4, or a different one that I have in my mind could be the ones to have this sort of thing happen. But I'm very much with Vincent D'Onofrio and saying yes, let them fight.
Right. And again, he's been a Spider-Man villain for years. So
Hmm.
this is the only time in the video games. That's the first person you fight. It's Kingpin.
Right.
You send him in jail. So it's like, yeah. Now also been a rumor who bought Avengers Tower. Now at this point, nobody gives a damn. But who just want to know. I mean, seriously. But the whole point of who bought Avengers Tower, is it Fisk Tower? Is it the Baxter Building? We will know, and we've got confirmation that we'll know very soon. But again, will
Hmm.
we care? That's whatever. But yeah, let us know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the MCU now canonizing Marvel Netflix shows, all of them, every single one. Now, was the future pursuits of that? Actors going to come back now? It's like, oh, actually, I'm in here. Okay, I can come back. That ship is
Yeah,
sailed.
but you also know when it comes to this, they're going to have to address some of the loose threads that were hanging from how some of those shows ended, because there are a lot of loose threads, as like for instance, Bullseye. what Luke Cage went through, Colleen becoming the new Iron Fist, Purple Man still being alive potentially. There's a lot of loose threads that now they got to work with if they are fully going for, yeah, these are all canon again.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you also have some actors now in new roles playing the same, or who are the same actors who played roles in Marvel, Netflix, are now playing roles in the MCU. Like, Mahershala Ali was Cottonmouth, and Luke
Now he's
Cage.
Blade.
Now he's Blade. I mean, I know we all black, but we don't all look alike. But hey, you know, but yeah. But anyway, they're gonna address that. But yeah, but going to that, we mentioned that Punisher saying that he actually wants to, when he's gonna do Punisher, that he wants it to be more serious, grounded, in tone and everything. He said, we're not playing around. We're not gonna sugarcoat Punisher at all. Now, there's been some recent controversy because of a certain, tragic incident, and stuff in the real world that people want to change Punisher's look and everything like that, but not know what he represents and stuff. So it's a very sticky situation. But again, it is a fan favorite character and he's coming back. So we hope that they don't sugarcoat it. But I don't know, J. King, what are your thoughts on now that Punisher is confirmed to be coming back with John Bernthal saying, I'm coming back, we're doing it right.
I mean, one thing I'm 100% ready for him to come back as well. I understand that there are some people that want a tiny bit of a change. And I can at least say that if they did want to change anything, maybe I say the biggest thing is probably just, maybe the outfit as well as the whole skull thing. I can at least tell you, they kind of gave him an update in the comics. So if you guys want that, at least there's an alternative. But I will say I am ready for him to come back because there are a lot of things that, again, loose threads, that have to be addressed. But also, I'm very much ready for a hard hitting Punisher, more so than what we got before. I want what I read from the Punisher comics to finally get brought into the light. His fighting style, and maybe even, some comments about how he respects, yeah, that suit. When he joined a clan, I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to go into details, but I'm ready to see the hard-hitting fights that I've seen before in the comics of old and of recent with Punisher get brought to light, with even some things that they couldn't do before. Like, for many who don't know, Punisher is a huge Captain America fan, even though Steve hates what he does. But hey, maybe that could even get addressed, something like that. But I'm ready to see, more of what we got before elevated to what it is. And if he's ready for it, I'm ready for it too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually think that this is actually a good move because, what he's saying, because he's actually right.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen characters watered down and have been not their fullest potential now. Like, for example, when I see Rogue in the X-Men movies in MCU, I need that woman to fly. I need her to fly.
And again, we understood that back in the X-Men films, like the flying came from Carol, but it's like y'all can do that now. Y'all can have that happen. So make her fly.
Right. But now the fact that we have him, I think that having Punisher now having a more serious tone, but again, compelling that in the current state of the MCU, I think, again, if once we get past the Thunderbolts, Captain America films, and Daredevil Born Again, and kind of get a sense of where we are tonally within the MCU, which could be, again, had a potential to be a lot darker, again, which is direction where we want to go, right? So I think we need more those films to come out to kind of tell how these street level, like espionage type, military films, like Captain America, Thunderbolts, Punisher, they're kind of in the consistent tone and thread that I feel like they have ways to incorporate his character in this and not water him down. But yeah, it'd be nice interactions again, cool. Especially if he is in Spider-Man, and then the fourth one interacting with Peter Parker and Punisher, which is also from from the Civil War comic when he saved them.
Mhm.
Again, that'd be a good moment just for fans to see and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just think that'd be a good combination of adding him in there. But yeah. But guys, let us know your thoughts on John Berthal's comments on the Punisher, the fact that he's coming back, that he said, hey, we're going to do it right. Let us know in the comment section down below. All right. Now, switching from the world of Marvel, we're going to the world of The Last of Us. The Last of Us Season 2 is currently being casted right now, getting a bunch of awards. Shout out to Critics' Choice that we have gotten casting. We've got casting for a few characters. Now, I don't know, Jake, you want to talk about who's been cast? We can.
Yeah, I can. So as we all probably expected, season 2 is very much going to adapt The Last of Us Part 2, the sequel game that showed more from Ellie's perspective than Joel's. Again, not going to go into too much detail, but for those who know, you know. But we got casting for 3 very important characters from The Last of Us Part 2. First off, we have, and I'll go in this order. First off, we have Dina, who we kind of got a little bit of a tease of in season 1 as well, from the camp that Tommy was at. She has now been casted. Dina is going to be played by a actress that has been very busy recently, Isabella Mona, who is going to be in Madam Web and going to be in Superman Legacy. So she's been very busy.
She is busy.
She has been very busy.
This woman was in Dora, and then
Yeah.
and then she was Dora, and now here she is now, like, let's go, Vámonos.
Grab your horse, let's kill some clickers.
Right. So she's been a lot of things. But yeah, as you see, this is a shot by shot comparison of what's going to happen.
And again, for those who don't know, like, Dina is basically Ellie's love in this game. Like, she's almost in a sense her end game in this series. And again, we're gonna see Ellie and Dina a little bit older, but like around 19, early 20s, something like that. And thankfully the actresses are close to that, with Bella Ramsey getting there in age, and Isabella about to be 23 and all that. So it's like they're gonna get there, and we'll definitely see the relationship blossom. And again, for many who saw it in the game, you're about to see that come out. The next casting we got is for another very important character, Jesse, who is friends with both Ellie and Dina, has a history with both of them that happens in between first and second game. And he's going to be played by Young Mazio, who was in a project with Steven Yeun before.
Beef.
Mm-hmm.
Now, me and my wife just actually started watching. We finished it this past weekend after Ali Wong and Steven Yeun got won for the roles in Beef at the Golden Globes. I was like, well, let me check the show out. I absolutely find it amazing, as I really was a good watch to see, and he was a good performance playing Steven Yeun's little brother in this series. Very great series. Listen, if you love Everything Everywhere All at Once, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this series. Not saying they're getting some crazy like multiverse stuff, but they're getting some a lot of crazy stuff in this in this show. Wow, it's a very human-based show. I'm actually gonna do a review about it because I was like, how did I miss this? It came out 9 months ago. But yeah, it's a great watch. Great watch.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then of course, the big one is that to the far left of these 3, we got Kathleen Dever, who is going to be playing Abby. And for many of this is a big talk. Again, I will not say what Abby does in the game, but just know Abby is basically the villain of the second game, and thus will be the villain of season 2. A big antagonist for Ellie. Again, I'm not going to say what she does, but for many of you who did play the game or know about what she does, let's just say we all went clubbing back in 2020. We all went clubbing, but yeah. So but again, this is a character that was very controversial when the game came out, even before the game came out, because someone at Naughty Dog leaked this like well in advance that this was going to happen, what her character does and everything. But yes, Kathleen Dever is going to be playing her, which me and obviously she's gonna have to bulk up and everything for this role. And I pray that she makes it through this because the fan base does not like most of the people that have a very strong certain opinion towards this game hate this character with a passion. They hate her with a burning blood red passion for what she does in this game. Again, I'm not going to say, but for what she does in this game, they hate the living heck out of this character. So I am just like, I'm just going to say, I'm hoping people can separate actor from character, but I'm just going to say, Kathleen Dever, we need to protect her because she does not deserve the hate that will be coming to her. But I am definitely looking forward to seeing her story. And again, for those who did not play the second game or don't know what Abby does and is very curious on what the heck I'm talking about, the only hints I'll give is that the ending of season 1 and what Joel did to save Ellie are going to have some major ramifications that connect to this character. And again, we need to protect her. We need to protect this actress because a lot of people I already know are gunning for her. And I know the minute that we see any footage or still images of season 2, dear God. But I am looking forward to seeing how they portray Abby, her backstory, her connections to Ellie and Joel and everybody in this second season. I'm actually really looking forward to that. And I'm really looking forward to her performance. But again, dear God, she has a massive weight to deal with for these next couple of years until we get season 2.
Yeah, because I think that the fact that they casting these particular characters and don't even know what the story's gonna tell. My wife ain't ready for it. You're not ready for it. So but yeah, she with The Last of Us and everything, part 2. Yeah, it's gonna mess a lot of people up, including her. But anyway, I think again these castings I feel like night and day are necessary and stuff, but great actors out, all of them. So I have no issue that they're not going to bring any type of stellar performance to this. I just know it's going to be a very controversial story. But again, as you see here, again, you recreate moments like this. I mean, see, this came out during the pandemic, man. I think was a pandemic? Yeah, right in the time, man.
Yeah. It was literally like towards the tail end of 2020. Like we were all stuck in our homes waiting for this game. Again, it's crazy to think that what this story talks about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that a lot of people are not ready for what's about to happen, but it's all good. It's all good though. But aside from that, actually, I actually forgot one thing. That in the realm of our next topic, in the realm of Star Wars, so there was an announcement that was made, a big one. Now, anything with Star Wars, again, I'm gonna believe it when I see it. Apparently, that we're actually getting a new Star Wars movie. Now, last Star Wars Celebration, we got a lot of films that have been announced that are coming. However, this one is coming a lot sooner than we think. And it's actually going to start shooting this year. And that's actually been confirmed that we're actually getting a Mandalorian and Grogu movie. A movie of the Mandalorian and Grogu. Now,
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yes, Michael.
Yes, but anyway. Yes, we're getting a new Star Wars movie now. I know immediately the fact that we're getting a Mandalorian movie and all that stuff. I know some people are excited and really cannot wait to see this movie.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait. Everybody calm down. No.
But then on one other half, you also got the other fan base, which with a lot of things, they can't have enough, but having a lot of
Emotional damage.
so it's a lot. So yes. So as you see, so yeah, there's been a lot of controversy with this, but Jay King, your thoughts that hey, they're making a Mandalorian movie.
I mean, when I saw the announcement, I was like, huh, okay. But I think mainly the reason why they're doing this, I think the big reason why is because out of anything that we've gotten within the Disney Plus era of Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu have been their biggest hits. Regardless of how season 3 went, they are by far some of the most popular recent Star Wars characters outside of some from other films and other shows prior to the Disney Plus era. They are by far two of the most popular characters that we've had in recent years. And so, of course, when you want to make something to probably get people's butts in them theater seats, you want to go with some big characters. And while a lot of people love Ahsoka from her show and from Rebels and Clone Wars, there is still a huge base of people that have not watched any of that. But you see Grogu everywhere. You see this little dude everywhere. You see Mandalorian stuff everywhere. Even if you have not been paying attention in the last couple of years, you can't ignore how popular these guys have gotten. So, of course, it makes sense why they would choose these two out of anybody. They didn't choose Boba. They didn't choose anyone else from Rogue One like they made a show for Andor. They didn't choose Ahsoka. They didn't choose any other character or any other era of the Star Wars universe outside of the other 3 films that they're still planning for both Mando, Rey, and, First Jedi and everything. They did it for 2 of the most popular characters in recent years, a gunslinger and a child Yoda. It makes sense why they chose those 2 to make a movie about than anybody else that they could have made a movie about. And honestly, I feel like this is their way of being like, okay, we still want to do season 4, but maybe it's time we up the budget a bit than what we already had before, and maybe a more simpler story that we can tell within 2 hours that could end the Mandalorian saga until the Mandoverse movie that connects them all. Again, this almost feels like, in a sense, a part 1, to where this is a part 1 and then that Mandoverse movie is going to be a part 2, kind of like, in a sense, their Infinity War and Endgame for the Disney Plus shows that we have gotten thus far that took place post original trilogy. I feel like this is just the prelude or the first half of what it'll end up being. I feel like this is going to do that while also ending any loose threads and an overarching story for the Mandalorian and Grogu. I feel like that's why they did this. This is essentially season 4, but bumped up to a movie.
Yeah, now I think I still heard that they're saying they actually are doing a movie. No, not a movie. That they're still going to be doing another season 4 of the Mandalorian, but then they're also going to still make the movie. So I don't know where this is going and direction they're going here. Listen, I understand that past season 3, which I didn't really enjoy, Mandalorian of Star Wars been like kind of most consistent thing. So at least saving grace for a lot of people in Star Wars, but I remember 2020 of Star Wars, and when Luke Skywalker showed up in Mandalorian, that was a moment that for a lot of Star Wars fans that united us a lot. So I mean, but yeah, I don't know. To me personally, I thought it was a decent moment, and that at least the fan base with us first had a moment together, not of rage, but out of excitement and celebration. But hopefully we can have that again. But I think I'll see what this movie when they announce the trailer, and I'll watch it and see where it's go. Then I can get direction if I actually care about this and stuff. Because again, I've seen them announce a lot of Star Wars movies that never got made. So
I think really when it comes to this is like not just the announcement. We need to see the announcement that they started filming, or at least see a set photo to say, yeah, they started filming.
Right, and again, they said they're gonna be start shooting this year. Will be directed by Jon Favreau, which I'm thinking, yeah, in good hands. But
Mhm.
him going from a Disney Plus show to his realm, which is making movies, cool. Then we straight. Hopefully, I there really have not been a bad Jon Favreau movie in my opinion. I mean, I know people had issues with Lion King, but again, didn't say it was bad. It's that issue, But
Yeah, it was just basically what we had before, but a little less emotion because realistic animals. But outside of that, he hasn't had a bad film.
yeah, but I don't know. But anyway, I think again, another Star Wars movie announced. I'll believe it when I see it, along with the Ray movie, which everyone hating about, and that director. Gosh, have you seen that news on that? The
You mean the whole women don't watch Star Wars thing?
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to go into that, but honestly, on both sides, they're not making the case better for themselves. And I mean, but on her side as a director, she ain't making this. She ain't making this any good for herself.
I think we could at least agree that she united the fandom in saying, "Heck, nah, we watch Star Wars."
Right. Yeah. And saying, I enjoy making men uncomfortable. I'm like, really? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, some of our comments. But again, anyway, the Ray movie, the Ray movie and all that stuff like that. So let's whenever that come out, we'll see how that goes. But The Mandalorian and Grogu film. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let us know your thoughts. If you're watching in the pre-recording or live right now. I actually was gonna go in and review another film, but I think let's just push it for another probably next week or whatever, because wait for more people to actually watch it. But so because again, whether just to make that episode on its own, or I just probably wait till we just get all 3 parts. But I don't know.
Mhm.
I did a review on it on Team JVS. Make sure you guys go subscribe to them. I did that. I actually did a little Spider-Man cameo for his son. You'll see that. I'm gonna clip it and put it on my channel. See that moment happen. But yeah, you'll see it. Just go watch the video. It's on there. Let's see my face on there with the crisis. Yeah, just watch that, and then just keep watching until you see Spider-Man show up. Anyway, but anyway, that concludes terms of our live stream of Jedi 7 Movie News Show. Jay King, where can people find you? In the social web?
Oh, on the social web, just Instagram. Yeah, really just Instagram at this point, which should be linked down below.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can find me here at Jedi Mike 7 on YouTube and on Instagram and on TikTok. You also can find my link tree, which is on my Instagram. Shout out to my wife. Thank you for making that. Which connects you to all 3 of the different platforms. I'll be posting some interviews and reviews later this week, so make sure you guys stay tuned. But till next time, this is Jay King. This is Jedi Mike 7. Peace, y'all. God bless. We are out.
Is there anything you want the fans to know, or any last thing you want to say to them before we get to see this series tonight?
This is where the fun begins.